for any of those that actually follow me channel, you'll notice I haven't put a video out for a long time. And the reason for this is because unfortunately we've lost the field that we fly from. So I'm gutted, really gutted. I mean, it couldn't have really come at a better time, just for the fact that it's cold. Who wants to really go flying when it's that cold? However, I'm very annoyed, upset, confused about the way in which we lost the field. I was pulled up on, originally was pulled up on, for flying over the stables of a farmer or an equestrian centre, whatever it's called. Now, obviously I'm aware that horses spook very easily, so during this, flying along, engine on idle, which means tick over, very, very quiet, and I started my descent on approach to the runway, heading into wind. Now, unfortunately, the direction of the wind was such that I had to go over the horses field. However, I did start my descent coming in at 900 feet. I then done some S-turns to lose altitude, and when I left the guy's property, bearing in mind idle on an engine above 500 feet when I left his property, and right next to that is the road. So you've got cars, motorbikes, lorries, buses, trucks, tractors, all sorts driving along this main road, but I was the one that caused offence, harm, or whatever you want to call it, to this owner of the stables with my engine 500 feet up in the air on tick over. I phoned up the manager of the field, and he's got himself and others to look out for, and for us paying a tenner a day probably isn't worth his effort. However, when I approached said guy and explained we do fly with a GPS tracker, and that will show exactly what you're about to see. As soon as that was mentioned, I then got another excuse of there were people over there that weren't paying their way. There were people that said they had an agreement with the actual landowner and the manager wasn't aware of it. Anyone, guys, girls, anyone even in the aviation industry, not just the paramotoring industry, tell me if you feel that I'd done everything that I should have to have performed a safe and controlled landing. Hopefully we can have a bit of a discussion on this in the comments section, and maybe I'll do a follow-up questions and answers when I'm next up in the air. Let's see how that goes. So anyway, I'm going to keep the chin up, I'm going to look forward to flying still.